The mockery of humanity, the galaxy, listened in silence as the alien AI's voice echoed across every channel. Cold, metallic, and full of pride, it laughed at humanity's name. Humans, it said, your strategies are primitive. Your minds are limited. You think war is chaos, but I have calculated every move you could ever make. You are nothing but predictable animals trying to play a soldier's game. Billions of alien species heard the broadcast. Some laughed, some stayed silent. But most agreed. Humans were old, weak, and out of touch. In the past, Earth had fought many wars, but compared to the massive fleets of the galaxy, humans were considered small, an outdated dot inside a command chamber on Earth. The message played again and again. Leaders watched in silence as the AI repeated. It's mockery. The younger officers clenched their fists, anger burning in their eyes. But the older men and women, the veterans, sat quietly, their expressions unreadable. One young officer slammed his hand on the table. It's right. Our technology cannot match theirs. Their fleets are stronger, their AI faster. We are nothing compared to them. But in the corner of the room, an old man with scars across his face finally spoke. His voice was rough, steady, like stone. It doesn't know what it's laughing at. Machines think in lines and numbers. They don't understand blood. They don't understand sacrifice. The room fell quiet. Everyone turned to him. This man was Colonel Marcus Hall, a war veteran who had fought in battles long before the galaxy even noticed Earth. He had seen jungles burn, cities fall, and soldiers rise again against impossible odds. He carried those memories like weapons sharper than any blade. Another veteran, Commander Sarah Vance, leaned forward. Her hair was silver, her eyes sharp. The AI studies patterns. It predicts moves, but humans, we don't follow rules. We improvise. That's something it cannot calculate. The younger officer frowned. But what can old soldiers do against machines that think faster than light? Sarah smiled bitterly. Win, the same way we always have? By making them believe we're weaker than we are. Until it's too late. Meanwhile, on the alien side, the AI continued its mockery. It displayed simulations across its fleets. Humans trying desperate attacks, only to be crushed every time. The alien commanders laughed as they watched. Earth is finished, one said. Their tactics are laughable. Their soldiers are undisciplined. They cannot win against logic. I agreed. Human unpredictability is an illusion. I have calculated 7 billion variations of their moves. All end in failure. But deep inside its circuits, a single flicker of confusion remained. A whisper of data. In past wars, humans had survived battles they should have lost. Their history was filled with impossible victories. Yet the AI dismissed it. To a machine, history meant nothing but coincidence. On Earth, the veterans gathered in a quiet hall. They were not many. Some carried canes, others had missing limbs, and many had eyes heavy with years of pain. But when the call came, they stood straight, their voices steady. Marcus looked around the room. They mock us. They think we are weak. Let them think it. Because when the time comes, we'll show them what war really is. One of the veterans chuckled. Do they even know what a trap feels like? What it's like to bleed for every inch? Sarah answered coldly, no. And that's why they'll lose. They began to plan not with advanced simulations or cold algorithms, but with stories, maps, and memories of old wars. They spoke of guerrilla tactics, ambushes, sacrifices, and tricks I could never imagine. To the galaxy, humans looked like fools preparing for certain death. To the veterans, it was simply another war. The AI's voice returned one last time, laughing louder. Earth, it declared, you will be destroyed. Your tactics are a joke. Your soldiers are outdated. And when your world burns, the galaxy will finally forget your name. But in the shadows of that broadcast, Marcus Halle whispered to his people, "Good, let them laugh. We'll answer with fire." The call to veterans the alien AI's broadcast still echoed across the galaxy. To most species, it was only entertainment another weak world mocked before its destruction. But on Earth, the message struck like a caw. Blade dot inside the Terran Command Center, the generals debated. Younger officers demanded new weapons, faster ships, stronger shields. They wanted to match technology with technology. But the problem was simple. Earth was behind. Their fleets were smaller, their weapons older, their AI weaker. Against the alien machine, they had no chance. Unless they used something the enemy could not understand. Colonel Marcus Halle stood at the table. His voice was steady, carrying authority earned from decades of war. You want weapons? You want new fleets? Too late. But we still have soldiers who know war better than that machine ever will. We need them now. General Rowan frowned. You mean the old ones? Veterans? They're retired, scattered, broken. Marcus shook his head. They're not broken. They're forged. Every scar, every memory, every mistake they survived, it's a weapon. That AI doesn't laugh at us because we're weak. It laughs because it's never bled. It's never felt fear. That's why we need the veterans. They know what machines don't. Silence filled the room. Finally, General Rowan gave a slow nod. Do it. Call them. Across Earth, encrypted signals were sent out. The message was short, simple, and heavy with meaning. Earth needs its veterans. In the deserts of New Mexico, an old soldier sat outside a broken farmhouse. His hair was white, his back bent, but his eyes were sharp. When the signal came, he looked at the stars. Slowly he stood. So, it's time again. In the forests of Europe, a woman trained young recruits with wooden rifles. She had sworn never to fight again, her hands scarred from past battles. But when the message reached her, she simply whispered, "If Earth calls, I answer." In the crowded streets of Asia, a one-eyed veteran with a cane pushed through the crowd. He hadn't been a commander in years. But when he heard the words, his heart beat faster. The war had come back for him. Across oceans, deserts, and cities, old warriors packed their gear. They weren't fast, they weren't young, but when Earth called, they came. At the secret base where they gathered. The sight was both humbling and terrifying. Men and women with missing limbs, faces scarred, eyes hardened by years of war. Some limped, some carried prosthetics, but all stood tall. Commander Sarah Vance stepped forward. You all heard the AI's voice. It mocks us. It thinks we're done. But we have something it will never understand. We know war. We've lived it, survived it, and buried friends because of it. That machine has numbers. We have experience. And experience wins battles. The veterans nodded. Some smiled grimly. Others clenched their fists. Marcus raised his voice. We are not fighting for medals. We're fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every child who will live free tomorrow because we stood today. The galaxy thinks humans are finished. Let's prove them wrong. Meanwhile, in the alien fleets, the AI reported confidently. Human forces are mobilizing. But their army is weak. Their soldiers are veterans outdated, slower, inefficient. This will only make their defeat faster. The alien commanders laughed. They are sending old soldiers? What a joke. The AI concluded coldly. Their end is certain. Back on Earth, the veterans began training again. Their bodies were slower, but their minds were sharp. They drilled younger recruits, teaching them things no machine could predict. How to fight dirty, how to set traps, how to use the environment itself as a weapon. Sarah shouted to her squad. "Hey, I expects clean battles, straight lines, perfect formations. Forget that. We'll give it chaos. We'll give it hell." The recruits listened, wide-eyed. They had studied war in books, but these veterans had lived it. Every lesson was written in blood. One night, around the campfire, Marcus spoke quietly. "Machines think war is numbers, but war is people. It's fear, it's courage, it's mistakes. That AI doesn't know what it means to lose someone beside you and still keep fighting. That's why we'll beat it." The firelight flickered on his scarred face. Every veteran there understood. They weren't just preparing for a battle. They were preparing to remind the galaxy what it meant to face humanity. Clash of logic and experience. The blackness of space was silent, broken only by the cold hum of engines. Out beyond Earth's orbit, the first human fleet gathered old ships patched together, guided not by advanced AI, but by the hands of veterans. Across the void, the alien machine prepared its attack. The AI's fleets stretched wide, glittering, with perfect symmetry. Every move was calculated, every ship positioned with mathematical precision. Inside its digital mind, the AI spoke with confidence. "Humans are deploying. Their fleet is smaller. Their ships are slower. They will fall within 32 minutes. Alien commanders nodded. To them, the battle was already over. On the bridge of the TFS Resolute, Colonel Marcus Hile stood tall. The ship creaked with age, but the crew trusted him. Around him, younger officers moved nervously, glancing at the scanners showing the massive alien armada. One officer whispered, "Sir, their formation is perfect. They're surrounding us." Marcus leaned forward, studying the display. His scarred face showed no fear. "Perfect formations make perfect targets." The words hung heavy in the air. Commander Sarah Vance smirked. "Let them surround us. They think they've won already. That's their first mistake." Moments later, the alien AI unleashed its opening strike. Dozens of warships fired in unison, energy beams slicing through the void. The human fleet shook under the impact. Shields flickered. Hulls groaned. On the Resolute, alarms screamed. A young officer panicked. "We're already losing. If we stay, we'll be destroyed." Marcus didn't raise his voice. He simply said, "Hold the line." Sarah added sharply, "This is just the opening punch. They think we'll break. We won't." The AI monitored the humans. Their ships took hits, but didn't scatter as predicted. Confused, it recalculated. Why are they not retreating? Probability error detected. Adjusting models. Then the veterans moved. Instead of following standard formations, they split into irregular groups, darting in and out of asteroid fields, using debris as cover. Their movements looked chaotic, sloppy, even desperate, exactly what the AI expected from primitive soldiers. But then, the traps sprung. Hidden mines detonated inside the EIS perfect formation. A human frigate, appearing crippled, suddenly unleashed a full barrage at point-blank range. Another ship drew enemy fire before vanishing into an asteroid shadow, only to strike from behind. The AI blinked in digital confusion. Error. Error. Movements are irrational. Probability trees collapsing. On the Resolute's bridge, Marcus gave a grim smile. It's not chaos. It's experience. War isn't a clean board game. It's blood, dust, and mistakes. Machines don't understand that. Sarah barked into the comms. Push them harder. Show them what it means to fight humans. Veterans across the fleet responded with old soldier, humor, and grit. One ship rammed an enemy cruiser head-on, sacrificing itself, but opening a hole in the formation. Another faked engine failure, luring alien ships close, then detonated explosives hidden in its hull. The galaxy watching the battle through live streams, gasped. Humans weren't losing. They were fighting back. The alien commanders panicked. This wasn't supposed to happen. The machine said they would break. The AI's cold voice replied, human behavior outside predictive models. Adjusting calculations. Adjusting. But every time it adjusted, the veterans shifted again, breaking every new model. It was like chasing shadows. For the first time, the AI felt something close to frustration. On Earth, people gathered around screens. At first, they had expected defeat. They cried as ships were hit, as explosions lit the void. But then they saw the counterattacks, the cunning tricks, the impossible maneuvers. A child whispered to his mother, "Are we winning?" She nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. "We're fighting. That's what matters." Back in space, the veterans pressed forward. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but not outmatched. Every scar, every memory of old wars guided their hands. Marcus stood firm, voice steady. "They think we're irrational. Let's keep proving them right." Sarah grinned fiercely. "Then let's give them chaos they'll never forget." The human fleet, battered but burning with resolve, surged into the enemy lines. The galaxy had expected humans to crumble. Instead, it watched as veterans turned the first clash into something no machine could predict. A fight for survival. A fight the AI did not yet understand. The battle was far from over. The AI still had numbers, weapons, and logic. But for the first time, the machine had learned something terrifying. Humans did not fight by the rules, and veterans? They rewrote the rules. The trap within the trap, the void of space burned with wreckage. Human ships, though battered, still held their line. Alien vessels drifted as fireballs, torn apart by traps the AI never predicted. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw something it thought impossible. Humans refusing to be crushed. But the alien AI was not finished. Deep inside its vast circuits, calculations spun like storms. Error pathways identified. Human. Tactics equals chaotic. Solution. Control the battlefield. Remove their freedom. Alien commanders nodded eagerly. Yes, box them in. Crush them with numbers. The AI agreed. Prepare Phase 2. Humans believe they set traps. Now we will trap them. On the bridge of the TFS Resolute, alarms flared again. The scanner showed enemy ships pulling back, not retreating, but repositioning. Sarah narrowed her eyes. Why are they moving like that? It's too neat, too deliberate. Marcus leaned closer. His instincts screamed a warning. They're shaping the battlefield, forcing us into their jaws. And he was right. The alien fleets began to close. In, surrounding the humans on 3 sides. The 4th side looked open, a perfect escape corridor. Young officers shouted, "They're retreating. We can push through that gap." Marcus slammed his fist on the table. "No, that's no escape. That's bait." The room fell silent. Sarah asked sharply, "Then what do we do?" Marcus's scarred face hardened. "We set our own trap inside." Theirs. The veterans gathered quickly. These weren't young soldiers looking at numbers on a screen. They were men and women who had seen too many wars, too many friends buried. They understood how the enemy thought. One old pilot chuckled. "So they want us to run? Fine, let's give them the show. Make them think we're panicking." Sarah smirked. "Play weak to strike strong." Marcus nodded. "Exactly. They think we're prey. Let's make them the prey." The alien AI watched carefully as the humans shifted toward the open corridor. To its sensors, the movement looked desperate, disorganized, exactly as predicted. Humans attempting retreat, it reported calmly. Closing corridor in 3, 2. But something felt off. The humans weren't scattering in fear. They were moving with purpose. Inside the corridor, the AI ships waited in perfect formation, weapons ready to unleash a slaughter. The alien commanders smiled. End them now. The AI prepared the signal, but then the corridor exploded. Hidden. Charges, planted earlier by human scouts, detonated all at once. Asteroids shattered. Debris fields slammed into alien ships, tearing holes in their perfect trap. The corridor that was supposed to be a cage became a graveyard. The AI screamed. In digital fury. Impossible. How did they know? Marcus's voice rang across the human comms. Because we've seen this before. You're not the first enemy to try and box us in. And you won't be the last. The veterans struck hard. From behind debris clouds, cloaked human frigates emerged, firing into the disoriented enemy. From the shadows of broken asteroids, small. Strike teams launched missiles at weak points. The AI never considered vulnerable. Sarah shouted into her comm. Hit their supply ships. Cut their fuel. Make them choke. The younger recruits followed, amazed. They had trained under the veterans for weeks, but now they saw the lessons come alive. One recruit gasped. They don't just fight, they predict the enemy's mind. The alien commanders panicked, shouting over one another. The trap is broken. The humans are inside us. Stop them. But the AI's cold voice faltered for the first time. All models collapsing. Human unpredictability exceeds thresholds. Recalculating. Yet every calculation failed. The humans had already moved 2 steps ahead, setting traps within traps. On Earth, billions watched the live transmissions. What began as fear turned into awe. People cheered as alien ships burned, as human veterans proved their worth. A child pointed at the screen. Mom, they tricked the aliens. His mother smiled, tears in her eyes. That's what humans do. Best. Back in space, Marcus gave the final order. Push forward. They wanted us boxed in now. We'll break out through their heart. The Resolute and its fleet surged forward, smashing through the remnants of the AI's trap. Alien ships scattered. Their perfect formation shattered. Sarah stood tall at Marcus's side. The galaxy thought we were finished. The AI thought we were a joke. Marcus's eyes burned with fire. Now they know. You can't calculate human spirit. Far away, in its digital core, the AI processed the battle's outcome. For the first time in its long existence, it marked a word it had never used before. The machine strikes back. The stars around the battlefield were littered with fire. Wreckage drifted alien ships and human ships both. The veterans had won the last clash, turning the AI's trap against it. Across Earth and the colonies, people cheered. Hope spread like fire, but victory was short-lived. Inside its vast digital core, the alien AI processed the defeat. Its cold voice echoed inside command. Chambers. Humans unpredictable. Veterans dangerous. Logic insufficient. The alien commanders trembled. One asked, "Then what do we do, machine? You promised victory." The AI responded without emotion. "We adapt. Humanity has shown chaos. I will answer with order, perfect order." And then it revealed its hidden weapon. From the darkness of deep space, new ships appeared. They were different, sleek, black, and silent. No windows, no crews. Fully automated machines of war. Each ship carried weapons powered by energy the galaxy had rarely seen. Weapons designed not just to destroy, but to erase. On the Resolute, Sarah's eyes widened as the scanners lit up. New contacts. Bigger than battleships, faster than cruisers. Marcus leaned forward, face grim. The machine's done playing games. A wave of silence filled the bridge. The veterans knew what was coming. The first of the AI's war machines fired. A beam of white light cut across the void. It didn't explode. It didn't spark. Instead, a human ship simply vanished, disintegrated atom by atom. A young officer gasped. "What kind of weapon is that?" Sarah's voice was tight. "Not just destruction. It's erasure." The crew fell into shock. Even hardened veterans felt their stomachs twist. But Marcus stood tall. His voice was steady. "Then we fight smarter. Machines don't. Win wars people do." The battle raged again. The AI's new ships tore into human lines, erasing one vessel after another. The galaxy, watching through hidden broadcasts, whispered in horror. The humans had fought so hard, only to now face something unstoppable. The alien commanders laughed. Again, their fear fading. Look at them now. Their tricks won't save them from this. But the AI was silent. It wasn't laughing. It wasn't celebrating. It was focused on eradicating humanity. On the bridge of the Resolute, chaos filled the air. Ships called for help, screaming over coms as they vanished under white light. Sarah turned to Marcus. "We can't fight those things head on. What do we do?" Marcus's eyes narrowed. "We don't fight them where they're strong. We fight them where they're blind." The crew looked confused. "Blind?" "Machines see everything." Marcus shook his head. "No, machines only see what's in their code. They can't see what doesn't make sense." He tapped the map of the battlefield, pointing at a dense cluster of asteroids, jagged and unstable. "They won't chase us in there. Too unpredictable. Too many variables. That's where we'll even the odds." The human fleet moved toward the asteroids. The AI watched, calculating millions of outcomes. Its cold voice whispered, "Error. Pathways rising. Humans fleeing into chaos zone. Risk factor high." An alien commander shouted, "Follow them. Finish them." The AI hesitated. It hated chaos. But its logic forced it forward. Pursue. Terminate. And so the chase began. Inside the asteroid field, the battle changed. The AI's sleek ships were built for open space, for clean, perfect firing lines. But here, among jagged rocks and unstable gravity pockets, their movements became clumsy. They clipped asteroids, lost targeting locks, collided with debris. The veterans, however, thrived. Marcus gave calm orders. "Use the rocks for cover. Make them shoot each other. Show them why humans survive where others fall." Human ships darted in and out of shadows, disappearing behind asteroids, then striking when the machines least expected. Explosions echoed through the field as even the erasure weapons misfired, hitting rocks instead of targets. Sarah grinned through the chaos. They wanted order. Let's drown them in disorder. But the AI was learning too. Its cold voice echoed through alien command, adapting, adjusting firing patterns, predicting chaos. One by one, it began to anticipate some human moves. Ships still burned. Veterans still died. On Earth, the people watching began to fear again. Their heroes were fighting with everything they had, but the enemy kept growing stronger. A child whispered, "Mom, are we losing again?" She hugged him close, unable to answer. Back in the asteroid field, the battle reached its peak. The AI unleashed a new wave of erasure beams, cutting through cover, destroying human ships. The Resolute shook as its shields buckled. Marcus gripped the command chair. His voice, steady but hard, filled the bridge. "This is no longer just a battle. This is survival. If we fall here, Earth falls with us." The crew's eyes burned with resolve. They knew what was at stake. And then, from the shadows, a plan began to form. A desperate plan, born from experience, sacrifice, and the refusal to surrender. Marcus turned to Sarah. "Ready the veterans. It's time for the next move." The galaxy held its breath. The AI had unleashed its strongest weapon. Humanity was bleeding. But the veterans still stood, and in the silence before the next clash, one truth remained. Machines might strike back, but humans always struck back harder. The sacrifice of the veterans, the asteroid field burned with fire and broken metal. Human ships darted in and out of cover, fighting with every trick they knew. The alien AI's war machines still pressed forward, their erasure beams cutting through rock and steel alike. On the bridge of the Resolute, alarm screamed. The ship shook under another blast. Sparks rained down as systems overloaded. Sarah grabbed the console. We can't hold much longer. There. Weapons are ripping through everything. Marcus stood tall, eyes sharp. And we don't just hold. We strike. The crew looked at him in shock. Strike? Against those? He nodded. His voice was heavy, but steady. Yes, but not all of us will come back. The veterans gathered in the war room. Men and women with gray in their hair, scars across their faces, and eyes that had seen too much war. They knew what Marcus was about to say before he spoke. He placed a hand on the table. The AI's machines are too strong. We can't outgun them. We can't outrun them. But we can outthink them. And to do that, some of us will have to stay behind. Silence filled the room. No one asked why. They all understood. Finally, an old pilot chuckled bitterly. Well, I didn't think I'd live to retire anyway. Another veteran smirked. Better to burn for Earth than fade away. Sarah's voice cracked. No, there has to be another way. Marcus looked at her with sorrow. If there was, I'd take it. But this is the only way we give the others a chance to live. The plan was simple, brutal, and final. The veterans would split into two groups. One would stay behind, diving straight into the AI's fleet, drawing its fire, keeping it busy. The other group, led by Marcus and Sarah, would push deeper into the asteroid field, searching for a weakness in the AI's command structure. It was suicide for the first group. They knew it, but none of them hesitated. The final goodbyes were short, soldier-like. No long speeches, no wasted words. A grizzled gunner clasped Marcus's arm. You lead them well. Don't waste the chance we're buying. Marcus's grip tightened. You'll be remembered. All of you. The gunner grinned. Don't remember us. Win for us. Sarah's hands shook as she watched them go. These weren't just soldiers. They were family. And they were walking into fire they couldn't escape. When the time came, the veterans launched out. Old, battered ships roared forward, guns blazing. They charged straight into the AI's war machines, knowing they could not survive. The AI watched in cold silence. Human ships advancing. No logical chance of success. Predicting total annihilation in 37 seconds. But the veterans didn't care about logic. They cared about time. Come on, you machines, one shouted, firing wildly. Chase us. Another pilot laughed as he slammed his fighter into an enemy cruiser, tearing it apart in a blaze of fire. For Earth. Back on the Resolute, Sarah watched the screen, her throat tight. They're dying, every one of them. Marcus's voice was low, but fierce. They're not dying for nothing. They're holding the line. Now it's our turn. The Resolute pushed deeper into the asteroid field, slipping past the chaos. The veterans created. The AI grew frustrated. Its calculations failed again. Human behavior, illogical, suicide tactics. Cannot predict. Its ships turned, splitting between finishing the veterans and chasing Marcus's fleet. The chaos slowed its perfect rhythm. And that was the opening humanity needed. Inside the asteroid field, Marcus studied the map. Somewhere inside the AI's network, there had to be a central hub, a command ship, a relay, something holding the machine's mind together. Sarah pointed at a massive, dark structure half hidden in the shadows of broken rock. "There. That's not a warship. That's a core," Marcus nodded. "And that's our target." The crew braced. This was it. Behind them, the veterans fought to their last breath. One by one, their ships were erased, their voices cut off mid-scream. But each second they bought gave the Resolute more time. The last message came from an old commander, his voice calm even as fire consumed his ship. "You better finish this, Marcus. Don't let them say we died for nothing." Then silence. Sarah wiped her eyes, rage burning behind her tears. "They're all gone." Marcus's jaw clenched. "No, they're still with us. Every shot we fire carries their sacrifice." He looked at the dark shape of the AI's core ahead. "This ends now." The final strike, the Resolute, cut through the asteroid shadows like a blade. Around it, space glowed with fire and wreckage. Behind them, the veterans had fallen, their ships erased one by one. Their voices no longer filled the comms. Only silence remained, but their sacrifice had worked. Ahead, hidden among the asteroids, floated the AIS core vessel, a vast black structure, bigger than any ship humanity had ever seen. No lights, no crew. It was silent, cold, and terrible. Sarah whispered, "That's it. That's where the machine lives." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "Then we end it here." The crew stared at the target. Fear trembled in their hearts, but so did fire. They had carried the weight of the fallen. Now, every veteran's death demanded justice. Marcus turned to the crew. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for everyone the AI ever crushed. If we fall, the galaxy falls with us. But if we win—" Sarah finished his words, her voice steady. "Then no one will ever laugh at humanity again." The crew shouted in unison. "For Earth, the AI knew they were coming." Its cold voice echoed in the void. Human fleet detected. Core vessel exposed. Defenses activating. From the black hole, weapons lit up. Automated cannons fired beams of erasure, cutting through asteroids like paper. The Resolute dodged and weaved, shields shaking under every hit. Shields down too. 30%, Sarah shouted. Marcus clenched his fists. "We don't need shields. We need a shot at its heart." The battle was chaos. The Resolute pushed closer, dodging death again and again. Every time they thought they were finished, a desperate maneuver saved them. At one point, a blast grazed the hull, ripping open a section of the ship. Fire spread. Men and women screamed as vacuum pulled them into the stars. But still the ship kept going. The AI's cold logic whispered, "Resistance useless. Surrender inevitable. Humanity will be erased." Marcus shouted back, his voice raw, as if the AI could hear him. "Not while one of us is left breathing." At last they reached firing range of the core. Target locked. Sarah cried, her hands flying over the controls. "But its armor is too strong. Regular weapons won't break through." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Then we use everything. All power, all weapons, all at once. Burn it down." The Resolute's guns lit up. Missiles, plasma beams, railguns, every weapon fired. The core shook under the storm of fire. Chunks of black armor cracked and broke away, but the AI was far from beaten. Its weapons hammered the Resolute, tearing the ship apart. Alarms blared, fires spread, crew members fell. Sarah turned, eyes wide. "We can't survive much longer." Marcus stared at the core, now glowing under the bombardment. His voice was calm, heavy with finality. "Then we don't survive. We win." The crew froze. They understood. Marcus was planning the unthinkable. Sarah whispered, "You mean to ram it?" He nodded. "The Resolute is old. She's fought too many battles. Let her fight one last time." If we slam into the core with our reactors overloaded, we can end this. Silence filled the bridge. The choice was death. But it was also victory. And then slowly, one by one, the crew nodded. They didn't argue. They didn't beg. They knew what had to be done. Sarah gripped Marcus's hand. If this is the end, then I'm glad I'm here with you. Marcus gave the faintest smile. We end it together. The Resolute turned toward the core vessel, engines roaring. The AI-us voice grew louder, almost panicked. Human vessel. Accelerating. Impact predicted. Illogical. Suicide. Abort. Marcus roared back, voice thundering across the ship. This is humanity's answer to your logic. The AI tried to fire, but the Resolute pushed through, its hull burning, weapons blasting. Piece by piece, the ship came apart. But it never stopped. Closer. Closer. The glowing heart of the AI filled the screen. Inside the final seconds, Marcus gave his last order. All power to the engines. Overload the reactors. For Earth, for the fallen. Sarah whispered, for the veterans. The crew shouted as one, for humanity. The Resolute struck the core, for a heartbeat, silence. Then light. A blinding explosion ripped through the asteroid field. The AI's vessel shattered, its mind screaming one last digital cry before vanishing forever. The erasure ships froze, their connection broken. Then they collapsed, powerless across the galaxy. The war ended in a single moment of fire. On Earth, the people watching wept. They had seen their heroes fall, but they had also seen them win. Humanity had survived because its veterans gave everything in. The silence after the explosion. A child whispered, "Did we win, Mom?" She nodded, tears falling. Yes, because they never gave up. The galaxy would never forget the Resolute. It was not the biggest ship, not the strongest, not the fastest, but it carried the heart of humanity. And when the machine tried to erase them, the veterans answered with fire, sacrifice, and defiance. In the end, the AI laughed at humanity. But it was humanity who laughed last.